with her words of wisdom and introduce Dr. Wallach.
Okay, thank you again, everybody, for being here. Last nice warm days in Michigan, a beautiful day today. And in Michigan, you appreciate a good day, right, Martha?
I appreciate a day in Michigan anytime.
What's the temperature there now?
My son just had to drill a new well. The pump in the well burned up and they couldn't get it out, and it was just a mess. So he had to end up drilling a brand new well, which is not good. But anyway, once he got over the trauma of having to realizing he had to do that, he's okay. He's happy now. He's got nice water and everything's cool. But anyway, I told him he should look at the good side of it. It could have happened in the middle of the winter, and we would not have been able to drill a new well in the middle of the winter.
But you have been waterless?
Get closer to the microphone. We're not hearing you.
Not hearing me? I'm talking loud, trying to.
That's better.
Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, back to my little pet peeve. I talk to people till I'm blue in the face, and talk and buying books and CDs is great. It's great to learn. But all that knowledge doesn't do any good if you don't take action. You've got to take supplements. You've got to take essential fatty acids to prevent yourself from getting blood clots, which cause strokes. Nobody wants to die. And worse than dying of a stroke is getting maimed and having to live paralyzed the rest of your life if you can't, recover from it. So basically, the bottom line is, don't just learn, take action. Knowledge without action is really useless. And so I want to go back to what Doc used to say. The ground is depleted. And years ago, people my age, we could live on McDonald's food and garbage, because I did. But you can't anymore. The food is atrocious. They've added chemicals to the food. Milan calls it cardboard food. That's what it tastes like.
It does.
Nobody knows anymore what good food tastes like. And the bottom line is, you can't think that you're going to get everything you need in your food, because you're certainly not going to. And if you don't consciously add the vitamins, the minerals, amino acids, and 3 essential fatty acids, you're going to fall short and you're going to have a breakdown. It's kind of like building a house with nails that aren't big enough. Eventually, it's going to fall apart. And it's the same thing with your body. If you don't give your body what it needs every day, it will try to get by with what it's got, but sooner or later, you're going to have a breakdown. And nobody wants a breakdown. So you got to learn to take action and take care of yourself like you would your car, because you're just as important or more important than your car. I mean, you can live without a car, but you can't live without your body. So there you go. So with that thought in mind, Doc, our guru, Dr. Joel Wallach.
Thank you. Ringy dingy, shut it off. Thank you.
See, the angels are playing music for you, Doc.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, the thing you have to appreciate is, you've all heard of the term, the land flowing with milk and honey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the land flowing with milk and honey. It's a biblical thing. It goes back, that term was actually printed in the old Bible 2,000 years ago, the land flowing with milk and honey. Because some people were living to be 120, 150, 200. But the average lifespan back then was like 25, 50. Okay, today, medical doctors, and I hope you're all sitting down, the average lifespan of a medical doctor today is 73. The average lifespan of an emergency room medical doctor is 55.8. Okay.
Ooh.
And of course, what's going on there? Well, that's because they're just eating food. They're not taking vitamins and minerals. They're taking a lot of not only junk food, but they're taking a lot of prescriptions, okay, which relieve symptoms, which makes them happy. But relieving symptoms doesn't prevent early death, okay? actually could speed things up. So the thing that we're finding out is people they go to their doctor, and the doctor takes a blood test. They say, well, everything looks okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. And people say, well, my doctor said I'm okay. Just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing. And of course, it's convenient, it's cheap, and so forth. And then they die. Well, everybody needs to get a hold of the book, Rare Earths Forbidden Cures. Rare Earths Forbidden Cures. Okay. That book goes into a lot of stuff. Okay. Rare Earths Forbidden Cures. And of course, it goes into the history of the term, the land flowing with milk and honey. Okay. And that's because from a half a mile away, 2 miles away, they could look at the mountains and they'd see the streams coming down the sides of the mountains. They look like milk, white, coming down the mountains. That's because the glaciers are grinding up the rocks at the top of the mountains, and the rock dust was white. That white dust would get into the streams coming down the side of the mountains. And from a half a mile, 2 miles away, you could actually see the stream coming down the side of the mountain, look like milk coming down the side of the mountain. Now, the longest lived peoples today, now I hope you're all sitting down, the longest lived peoples today, this is, the news information, are the Pakistanis. The Hunzas, they live in the Himalayan mountains, and their average lifespan is 126. Okay.
Wow.
126 is their average lifespan. Okay. And so then there's some that live to be 140, 150. They kind of slip through and live a little bit longer. It's because they're getting all these minerals from the tops of the mountain. Now, when you look at the soil in the farms, the farmers are happy when the university and the Department of Agriculture does a test for them on their soil. And their soil has 3 or 4 or 5 minerals in it, and they're happy because their crops are good. And in the old days, people used to put the wood ashes into the gardens, and the wood ashes had the minerals in them, whatever the plants, the trees and the wood and the coal had in it. And at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I hope you're all listening again, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, the switch was thrown in big universities, in hospitals, in clinics, and suddenly now there's electricity. And people loved electricity. There was no heating. There was no worries about the house burning down. They could be in bed and flip the switch and turn on the lights in the bathroom. They could turn out the lights in the kitchen, that kind of stuff. And everybody loved the electricity. And they gave up the dirty, smelly, smoky wood and coal. But that's where we're getting the wood ashes and coal ashes, which have the minerals in it. We'd put the minerals, the wood ashes and coal ashes, into the gardens. And whatever minerals that were in there, 3 or 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 or 20, were going into those gardens. Okay. The land flowing with milk and honey, it was all different because every mountain wasn't the same. And some mountains had 3 minerals in it. Some had 10, some had 25, some had 50, some had 75. And so even the glacial milk was not identical. So some people drinking the glacial milk from the mountains, they lived to be maybe 45, 50, 60, 70. And they thought that was good because everybody else is dying in their 20s. Okay. Well, the ones who lived to be 122 and 200, those are the ones who were living where the mountains had 75 to 100 minerals in them, in their glacial milk. Okay. And so this is something that's very well discussed in the book, Rare Earths Forbidden Cures. It goes through all the mineral deficiency diseases. It goes into the concept of how the long-lived people in the land flowing with milk and honey did so well. Okay, this is a great story. Now, today we have 3 books that are selling like crazy. One is the metabolic syndrome. Now, the metabolic syndrome goes back way back. Okay, we're talking about goes back to the beginning of time. The metabolic syndrome. And we're talking about the metabolic syndrome is a combination of abdominal obesity, type 2 diabetes, and hypertension, high blood pressure. Those 3 things together give you what's called the metabolic syndrome. This goes back 200,000 years ago, 300,000 years ago, people were suffering from this, okay? And they would die early, okay, from it. And it's because they didn't have all the nutrients in the soil that they were growing their food in, okay? And let's see here. Today, women have maybe 10, 15% more metabolic syndrome than the men. And both men and women with metabolic syndrome make up about 30% of the population. One third, one out of three Americans have the metabolic syndrome. Okay. And of course, it will kill you. So you need to get a hold of the book, Metabolic Syndrome. It's 3 months old today, the book. It's been out for 3 months. We're very proud of it. And it goes into the history, the story of the metabolic syndrome. And so it's very, very interesting. And it's one of those things where it's easily reversed, easily dealt with. And it's all in your head. This is one of my favorites. It's only 30 pages, but on page 6 is my favorite picture of all pictures. The top picture, of course, is a picture of a normal skull. All right. It's quarter of an inch thick. They cut the top of the skull off. And they're looking down on the brain. Quarter inch thick. The bottom one, they cut the top of the skull off. They're looking down the brain, but it's going to have 2 inches thick because it has osteoporosis. Doctors do not get taught about osteoporosis of the skull. Okay. Doctors do not get taught osteoporosis of the skull. And there's 50 different diseases you can get from osteoporosis of the skull, including all those things, all the paralyses and terrible demyelinating things that go on in your spinal cord and your brain. Okay. And we have a CD that goes along with the book. It's all in your head, which is, again, 30 pages. And page number 6 is a picture of the skull. And then, of course, we have the CD that goes into all the stuff with the spinal cord. And then the truth about nutrition. You know, doctors say, oh, don't waste your money in vitamins, minerals, just eat well and get everything you need. Well, any doctor who said that, they should have their license taken away. You cannot get everything you need just by eating well. Even in places where you have the land flowing with milk and honey, sometimes there's only 3 minerals in there. Sometimes there's 20, sometimes there's 25, sometimes there's 30, sometimes there's 50, sometimes you can't tell by looking at it how many minerals are in there. Okay. And the only way that you're going to guarantee you're going to get all the nutrients you need, the optimal amounts, is to supplement properly. So I urge you to read this book also. And this is a great set of books to give to your family. The Truth About Nutrition, It's All in Your Head, The Metabolic Syndrome. Okay. The book Rare Earths and Cures, that's starting to go a little bit now. And then Dead Doctors Don't Lie. This is my best-selling book. 300, I think it's like 375,000. 375,000, or is it million? 375 million books. Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Okay. And this book, even the CDs, we've sold over 100 million of the CDs. It's my lecture, Dead Doctors Don't Lie. It is the most listened to health lecture, Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Hell's Kitchen goes back to 2004. That's when this was printed. And chapter 14 goes into the metabolic syndrome and all the details of metabolic syndrome. You see, this guy over here, he got the abdominal obesity, okay? And if you have abdominal obesity, you have type 2 diabetes and then high blood pressure, you've got the metabolic syndrome. It's chapter 14 in this book, Hell's Kitchen. And then we have the book Immortality. Okay, go to chapter 11, goes into the same thing. This was published in 2008. It goes into all these long-lived cultures that were living 200,000 years ago, 300,000 years ago, and what they were doing in their gardens and their fishing and what they were eating and so forth, and why they lived so long. Okay, and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, they flipped a switch in electricity. Okay, and then suddenly now all these diseases came along, and suddenly now we had to have all this insurance, health insurance. Okay, so because people couldn't afford to pay the doctors for everything that the doctors wanted to deal with all these different diseases and symptoms and so forth. The book, Let's Play Doctor. Okay. This teaches you how to diagnose about 20 different diseases, things like osteoporosis, arthritis, degenerative disc disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, all that kind of stuff. Even things like dementia, loss of the memory. So we came up with the I-26 to rebuild the brain and the spinal cord, and this is working like a charm. Okay, and it's one of those things where if you do all the correct things, stay away from all the bad foods, take all your 90 essential nutrients, and if you have a certain disease in your area, your family, where there's a lot of people involved, look it up and find out what the secret sauce is for that particular disease. Don't stop taking the 90 essential nutrients, but add more of the secret sauce to your program. And you can add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. You can add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life. Why not do that as a gift for your family? And, we were able to reverse things like Parkinson's disease. For 100 years, Parkinson's disease occurred at the rate of 60,000 new cases a year in the United States. 60,000 new cases a year in the United States alone. Well, in the last 6 months, it's gone up by 50%. Now it's 90,000 cases per year, 90,000 cases per year. But because of the I-26 in the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, we can get rid of Parkinson's disease. Okay, we don't like to use the C word because it freaks everybody out, but we can prevent and reverse. We can prevent and reverse Parkinson's disease. It's not a genetic disease. It's not an old person's disease. It's a simple disease of nutritional deficiencies. And so that's why we came out with a flip chart. We have all these famous people, okay? They have Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, okay? Huntington's chorea, Bell's palsy, all these kind of things the doctors thought were mysterious genetic things. They're just simple nutritional deficiency diseases. So if you don't have this flip chart, get the flip chart. It'll go through all these, and you'll go through, well, gosh, half my family's got all these things. But you can get rid of them. I don't care if they, just like Madeline, she had Parkinson's disease for 20-something years. Okay. Madeline had Parkinson's disease for like, I think she had Parkinson's disease for, let's just say 12 years. She had it for 12 years, getting worse. And the doctors told her family, okay, you better look here. This is kind of the end of the trail for Madeline. And so they asked me, is there anything we can do for her? So we gave her the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and came up with the I-26 for her to rebuild the myelin and the white matter in the brain and spinal cord. And in 2.5 months, she didn't have Parkinson's disease anymore. And now she and her family member from YOUNGEVITY have been going around giving lectures and getting people joined up to get on the program. Okay, this is very simple stuff. Okay, and so I cannot thank you enough. We're a family, we're a team. We have so many people to help around the world. And we have 25 best-selling books that cover, about 500 different diseases that we've been able to learn how to prevent and reverse. Okay, get involved. And if you're talking to somebody, say, look, I need you to get this book. It has the answers for you because you won't remember everything I say. You need to read this. And of course, the flip chart is a good one because it has 70 something, 73, 75 pages, whatever it is. And it's written in a very simple reading. Cholesterol is your best friend. Now, doctors say cholesterol is your worst friend. They want to give you all these pills to get rid of cholesterol. Well, that's why we came up with I-26, okay? Your myelin in your brain, the white matter of your brain and spinal cord, is 85% cholesterol. You get on a cholesterol-lowering drug, there ain't nobody home anymore. Okay? And so you do need to be sure you're eating 3 eggs twice a day, scrambled, not deep fried, none of that kind of stuff, but soft, scrambled, okay, in butter. And it's one of those things where you need to take the I-26, go ahead and take our Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and stay away from all the bad foods. no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no gluten, no wheat, brown, round oats, no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet ones need to go. Carbonation neutralizes your stomach acid, so you cannot digest food or absorb minerals. The carbonation is one of your worst friends. Okay, it's one of your worst enemies. So stay away from that. We do have the rebound, which we made for Theo Ratliff. Okay, I take 2 of these a day, one at breakfast, one like about 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You do not want to take this at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night because you'll be up all night. But it's got, let's see here, 150 milligrams of the plant-derived minerals. It's got all the vitamins known to man in here. Okay, we made this for Theo so he could play a game without having to come out in the middle of the game because he's wore out. Okay, so that's why he had trouble for years and years and years, and his career was just about over. And we made the program for him, and he, what should I say, actually recovered, and over a period of 9 years, he made $100 million in contracts. $100 million in contracts for a guy whose career was over. Pretty good, right? With a healthy brain and heart pack, and also for the rebound. And so it's one of those things where we have the tools. We have the tools. We have what's necessary for the tools to work. We have the information. So even, somebody who can read the 6th grade reading level can figure it out. It's all in there. It's all in this one. We had somebody come by the office today, right when we opened up at 6 o'clock this morning. Okay, 6 o'clock this morning. And they bought a case of The Dead Doctors Don't Lie and 50 of the books, okay, called Metabolic Syndrome. Okay. So over to you.
All right, Shar. Are we ready for questions?
Yeah, anybody have any questions? Raise your hand. I know Michael last week had some questions. Sue's got her hand up. Go ahead, Sue.
All right, let me get her unmuted.
Okay, there it goes. Dr. Wallach, this is a 2-part question. The first is a 16-year-old. They both have the same condition, but he had rib cage at birth. They assume it wasn't growing at birth. And it wasn't until he was a little bit older that he started having problems. But he's now like between 15 and 16 years old. I didn't quite understand the person who was asking.
50, 60?
15 years old.
15.
Teenager.
Oh, 15.
He's now a
Okay.
teenager.
Okay.
He's like 5'7" and 135 pounds.
Okay.
But his rib cage prevents him from doing heavy physical activity because the doctors are saying his heart is getting too much pressure on it and can't, or I would assume it just can't beat fast enough. But anyway, so he's having fainting spells. And so they're not letting him exercise very hard.
Okay, here we go. He needs to get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, brown, round oats, no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet one's got to go. At 135 pounds with his problems, I want him to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month. 2 healthy brain and heart packs a month. Full dose everything at breakfast, full dose everything at dinner time. Okay. Then I want him to have 3 of our Ultimate Daily Classic tablets at breakfast, 3 at dinner time. And that's going to increase circulation to the arteries and the veins of the heart, of the kidneys. It's going to help with everything from blood pressure and bringing nutrition into all the organs of the body, including the heart muscle itself. He also needs the Procardia capsules. I think they're capsules or tablets. I take 3 of those twice a day, the Procardia. Okay. And then, of course, you don't want to forget the rebound. Okay, he can take that. Even if he's not playing sports, he can take the rebound And if he weighs 135 pounds, he can take one of these rebounds at breakfast and one of these rebounds at dinner time. He cut the corner off, drink a couple ounces out of a bottle of water, pour it into the bottle of water, and then sip on that for a half hour, an hour, get rid of it, okay? And that's going to help him. And also, with the cartilage stuff going on, it wouldn't hurt for him also to have 3 extra twice a day of the glucogel, and so he can rebuild the joints and the cartilage. But he also needs one of our newest products. It's called Pro Joint FX. Pro Joint FX. And what I want him to do, it comes in a bottle. Go ahead and take 3 of these twice a day. Okay, take 3 of these Pro Joint FX twice a day. That's in addition to everything else. That's not in place of anything else. This is in addition to everything else. Okay, and 3 twice a day. I take 3 twice a day. I only weigh 142, and you know, my joints are all pretty good. I can take on anybody my size or even larger and do very well. Okay, and so it's one of those things where we want to make sure that everybody knows we deal with over 500 different diseases. And of course, the heart's important. You can't live without heart. You got to have heart, miles and miles of heart. And so it's one of those
Absolutely.
things. Yeah, it's one of those things where if you have pain on your ribs, I use a CM cream. Use a CM cream, okay? And if he's prone to getting infections, use the colloidal silver, put a dropper full under the tongue on the right side, dropper full under the tongue on the left side, say 5 or 10 minutes for breakfast, 5 or 10 minutes for lunch, 5 or 10 minutes for dinner time, 5 or 10 minutes for bed. And I've been doing this for over 40 years. And I give so many lectures around the world with people coughing and hacking in their hands, don't want to shake your hand, and girls running up want to kiss you on the cheek and all that kind of stuff. But I haven't been sick, and Shar can testify. All these meetings we go to, everybody's sick and coughing and everything. Neither of us have been really sick where we've been disabled. Now, the colloidal silver will kill every virus and every bacteria. Penicillin only kills 2 bacteria. Out of the dozens and dozens of bacteria, penicillin only kills 2. Them all bacteria, all fungus, all yeast. And one of the greatest things, it's been used for over some places 600 years, but most areas over 400 years have been taking colloidal silver to deal with the plague and infections and all kinds of stuff. So it's one of my favorite bug things, anti-bug things. Now this one's down to about here. I got to get me another one. Okay. And it's one of those things where if you take all your nutrients, stay away from the bad stuff, take your colloidal silver, sleep well, exercise, take your rebound, all that kind of stuff. There's no reason why you can't live to be 120, like the people in Pakistan.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, anybody else have a question? If they do, raise your hand. Or
I believe if you're on a phone and you want to ask a question, is it *6? I believe *9.
I think so, yeah.
*9 will unmute you. Yeah. Okay. Well, last week, Michael was interested in testimonials. Does anyone have a testimonial that they would like to share?
Well, I can tell you guys, my husband came from a family, they didn't take care of themselves, mind you. He came from a family of 6 boys and 2 girls. The youngest boy is like a generation younger than my husband, so he's still alive. But my husband, I gave him our supplements. He thought I was poisoning him. I told him just to eat it, take it. But over a period of years, my husband outlived 4 of his brothers. 2 were older than him, 2 were younger than him, anywhere from 11 actual years to 21 years. None of my husband's brothers lived to be 70, not one of them. My husband lived to be 80 and 3 months. And he'd probably still be alive if he would have quit smoking, but he wouldn't quit smoking and he got pneumonia. But just the fact that my husband outlived 4 of his siblings, we're talking about the same gene pool from 11 to 21 years age wise. And not one of them lived past 270, not even 270. So I would say that's a good control group. It proves that taking supplements definitely adds many, many years to your life that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And it's better to err on the side of a little too much than not enough. I had a dear friend not that long ago found out he was taking 1 EFA a day. He weighs double my weight. He was taking 1 EFA a day. I said, you got to take more. That's not enough. And right after that, he got a stroke and ultimately was in a rehab hospital, and they didn't take care of him properly, and he passed away July 27th. So I'm just saying, your life, I mean, you don't want to play with your life, and you don't get to, there's no reruns. You got to take care of yourself the first time. Don't mess it up. Okay, Sue's got her hand up. Go ahead, Sue.
Yes. Well, just to be real short here, and to support everything Doc says about having nutrition before conception, my problem, and everybody always know where their problem started. I always wanted to know why by blood test I have an identical twin sister. She's an inch taller, I'll say now. I haven't measured us since I supplement, and I don't know that she does, but she was taller and she had more body weight, but yet we were by blood work identical twins. Well, at birth, I only weighed 6'4" and she weighed 8'2". And what happened is my placenta was on top of hers. We fused too much, and so she got all the food first. And as years went on, I developed problems. And now I've been on supplements for close to 25 years. And all those, the thyroid dysfunction, the blood sugar levels all being off, I had a dermatitis that I had to always put a prescription on, like twice a day to 3 times a day, depending on how bad it got. All these problems are going away. And it's a real long history of everything that's went on, but the supplements really, really are very effective. And my last is always my favorite. My last one added is always my favorite, which is Synaptive. I tried taking it just once a day at nighttime so it would do all it needed to do, but I take it twice a day. And on the days I'm not taking it twice a day, with my morning supplements, I don't think as clearly. And it's really obvious to me that I'm not. But there are so many good supplements, but that's just a quick synopsis of my case history in the past 20-some years.
Thank you so much for sharing your stories.
Yes, thank you very much. Dave and Pam have their hand up. I'm sorry.
Have their hand up. Go ahead, you guys. Dave and Pam from the Thumb. If you're in Michigan, you know what that is.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Wow.
We can hear. Go ahead.
Sue, that was great. That's hard to top. So I just wanted to say that in regards to children, like you said, they were told to Dave and I, doctors said we shouldn't have any children because they're going to be blind. Well, our first child, no problems at all. He does not even wear any glasses. And so then we moved back to Michigan. We had a child. And so, they gave her x-rays before we even left the hospital. You don't give a child x-rays before they leave the hospital. And they said her head was fused together, and they put all these horrible hexes on, these spells before we left the hospital. And so that was already a condition before we left the hospital. but they said they made a mistake and they measured it wrong. And so she did eventually was diagnosed with seizures, petit mal seizures. And I don't know if those different drugs that she was, around have anything to do with it, but we knew that she was gluten intolerant because I was gluten intolerant. Dave's gluten intolerant. Our mothers were gluten intolerant. We could tell because they're 10 pounds overweight. And my mom had rosacea. And so, with that being said, my daughter got through all of those seizures. They said she'd never drive, and she's driving now. And she has a child, which they said that he would never be born because, my daughter was a carrier of the blind gene that Dave had because his mother had a shot of whatever that drug was during the 50s and 60s when they're giving out those free shots for mothers that had morning sickness. And so, but, David was able to drive and work and, management, property manager and all those things before his vision got worse. And so, and then I had third stage kidney disease and I was on a boatload of medication and that's all gone. And nobody would even believe it because, there's like 5 years that I mashed all my food up in a Ninja or a blender or something, and I drank everything pretty much. And I want to tell you, Dr. Wallach, I'm so grateful that you came out with the I-26. I want to tell you that the gut protocol from Dr. Conaway and you and others has helped tremendously so many people, and adding the good herbs products is godsend. So thank you for saving so many of us. We appreciate it. And thank you for having this Zoom call, Shar. We appreciate you.
Thank you for sharing the story. It's a beautiful story. And you can magnify that by millions of times. Okay, we deal with 80 countries. We're dealing with millions of people a day. And so we're so proud of this. And we have things coming along here. There's so many cultures wanting our books now translated into their languages. And so, they're buying books by the cases. They buy a case of the book, Dead Doctors Don't Lie. They buy a case of Let's Play Doctor. They buy 50 of the let's see here, All in Your Head, or a big one that's flying out the door now is a metabolic syndrome. Okay. People are buying it, 50 at a time. Okay. And they sell them, of course, and they get their money back. Plus, because when you buy that many, you get a nice big discount off the regular retail price. But that's how they're growing their businesses, by getting the information out and getting people assigned to special diets and special supplement programs to deal with their diseases. And lo and behold, their diseases are getting better. In many cases, it's totally going away. And so this is an endless process, because as new languages enter the pool, okay, now the language has been around for a long time. These people are saying, well, how come this hasn't been printed in our language? Well, nobody asked about it. And so that's speeding up now with more and more languages. Okay, so you can check with Dr. Milan about the new languages coming along here in the books. And so it's one of those things where we are so excited about this because, we can't be everywhere. We can't. There was a time when I was giving 300 lectures a year. Okay, and we just couldn't keep that up. Okay, and so that was one of those things where now we have the books, we have the CDs, we have the radio, we have we have the flip charts, we have what's going on with the Dr. Dr. Wallach on the radio 5 days a week. It's one of those things where we're getting the message out there as much as we can. So what you want to do is take advantage of that information going out there. And you see someone in your family, your workplace, your church, your neighborhood that has something that we are dealing with, get them involved, and they will be a miracle. Get them involved and they will be a miracle for you.
Okay, Martha has her hand up. Go ahead, Martha.
If nobody else has any questions, I have a couple that were emailed to us.
Okay.
The first one is a male. He is 61 years old. He weighs 160 pounds and he's 5'8". He is in good health thanks to Dr. Wallach and Youngevity because he takes the 90 essentials every day. Notices a reaction when he has high fat foods later in the day, butter, cream sauces, avocados, chocolate, etc. He has awakened with uncomfortable and sometimes painful digestion. It goes away when he gets up and drinks water, especially if he drinks water with the cherry mints. He suspects a gallbladder issue, but doesn't want to have his gallbladder removed unless it's necessary. Can he avoid eating late? Is there anything that he can take to help with this?
Okay. How old is he?
61,
Okay. And how much does he weigh?
160 pounds.
Okay. His main complaint is gallbladder.
Yeah.
Yeah, ultimate enzymes before he eats a meal.
Okay, so needs to get rid of all the bad foods. No fried foods, no
The
processed meats.
gallbladder in a bottle, ultimate enzymes. Yeah.
Okay, are you done, Shar?
You froze up because my internet sucks as usual.
Okay,
But yeah,
okay,
the
so
gallbladder in the bottle. He needs to take ultimate enzymes before he eats a meal. The gallbladder in a bottle.
yeah, stay away from
That'll
all the bad foods. Stay away from all the bad
Yeah.
food. No
Oh
fried,
yeah, but that'll probably get rid of his problem. I would suspect.
no bad foods, no
Take one,
fried.
2, 3 ultimate enzymes when he starts a meal. And that'll help that will assist his gallbladder in taking care of the fat in the food.
Okay, ultimate enzymes. I would take 2 or 3 before each meal. Take it before the meal. So they're waiting down in the stomach for the food to come. Don't take it
Yep.
after the meal. Take it before the meal. Take the enzymes before the meal.
Yeah, you do not want to have your gallbladder taken out. No, 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 no. My mother had her gallbladder taken out. She had to because she got yellow jaundice, which back in the Second World War, people died from that. So she really didn't have a choice. She had to have her gallbladder out, but she told me there were so many foods once her gallbladder was out that she could not eat without getting deathly sick. Nuts were one thing. She couldn't eat nuts because, again, fat, right, Doc?
That's right.
There's a lot of fat in nuts, and nuts are good for you. But if you can't digest the
Well,
fat
nuts,
with no.
wait a minute. Stop. There's some nuts you should not eat. Do not eat peanuts.
Oh, they're not nuts.
Well, they are peanuts. You cannot have peanuts because they do have the fungus in it that causes liver cancer.
Yes.
No peanuts.
But walnuts, pecans, cashews, macadamia, all good for you. But you got to have a liver to be able to deal with all that fat. And a gallbladder. You got to have a gallbladder.
Cannot live without a liver.
You got to have a gallbladder because if you don't have a gallbladder, you're going to have to take a hell of a lot of ultimate enzymes before you eat a meal. You don't want to have to do that. 1 or 2 is enough. Okay, anybody else got a question?
I have another one. Was Dr. Wallach finished?
Yeah, I think that question's done.
So.
Okay. So the next question, this is a male. He's 66, 5'10", in good health, weighs 175. He's active. He walks, rides, grooms horses, used to golf, but gave it up because of the cost. He noticed his hearing isn't as good as it was in the past. He's worried about it. He takes Liquid Classic twice a day, EFAs, our chewable calcium, Prostate FX, iodine, and Mortalium. He follows the diet recommendations. He's been gluten-free for over a year. Money is a concern. If something's added, he'll have to remove something. What can he do to improve hearing? Are there any foods he can add? Exercise? What to avoid other than loud noises?
Okay, the odds are he has osteoporosis of the skull, squeezing the 7th and the 8th cranial nerves. Okay, he needs to get a hold of the book. It's all in your head. Look at page 6 and look at that picture of the normal skull, a quarter of an inch thick, and the osteoporosis skull is 2 inches thick. Squeezing the cranial nerves. There's 12 pairs of cranial nerves, and there's a chapter in that book. It's all in your head. There's a chapter in there for each of the 12 pairs of cranial nerves and the spinal cord. Okay. And it's not taught in medical school. They're taught, oh, you have a hearing problem. We're going to have to, do something with your internal equipment in your ear. Okay. And take stuff out, put stuff in, give you hearing aids, do surgeries, and they'll run a bill up if you have health insurance of, several $1,000s. When it's really, you just get rid of all the bad foods and take all the good stuff and rebuild the brain, including the myelin in the brain. That's why we came up with the I-26. The I-26 will rebuild the white matter in the brain and also the white matter in the spinal cord. And there's over 50 different diseases you can get when you have osteoporosis of the skull. In the book, it's all in your head. Each chapter represents one of the 12 pairs of cranial nerves. So there's 12 chapters. And then, of course, we have a CD for the spinal cord. So she needs to get a hold of that book. It's all in your head. And, he does, needs to get a hold of it. It's all in your head, and needs to get a hold of the products. 175 pounds. Needs 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month. Take a full dose twice a day. Okay. And then it wouldn't hurt to, unless he's getting out in the sun for a half hour every day, he needs to take vitamin D3. He needs the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. Take 3 of those twice a day to help blood flow go through blocked arteries into the brain, into the heart, and so forth. And this can be really significantly improved, and in many cases, totally all the bad stuff eliminated, and get back to where you're hearing very, very well.
Thank you, Dr. Wallach.
You bet.
Okay, Sue has got her hand up. Go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, this actually is similar to Char's last question. But there is a different variant. A 61-year-old, he's 160 pounds, 5 foot 8 inches. And he was thankful for Dr. Wallach's 90 Essentials because he loved the good health it was giving him. But he's been having difficulty sleeping. The butter, the sauces, he listed avocado, etc., cause him to wake up at night with abdominal pain. And the doctors are now talking about gallbladder removal. He was wondering if there was a way to prevent the gallbladder removal, and if the gallbladder gets removed, does he need to do anything different because he no longer has a gallbladder?
Okay, go see a different doctor. Do not get your gallbladder removed.
Okay.
Okay, to 160 pounds, he needs to get rid of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, bran, rye, oats, no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. Even the diet one's got to go. But then he also needs 160 pounds, 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, full dose everything twice a day. He needs the, let's see here, because he needs the digestion, he needs the, I give him the enzymes. Go ahead and take 2 or 3 of the enzyme capsules, say 10, 15 minutes before meals. Have those enzymes waiting for the food to come down there. Have the enzymes waiting. Don't have them take the enzymes at the end of the meal, because then it'll be chasing the food and never quite get done. Okay. So the enzymes need to be taken prior to eating. That will help a lot. Okay. We do have a product called Sleep Ease. Okay. You can take, say, 10, 15 minutes before bedtime. Certainly you don't want to take the rebound after 6 o'clock at night, because it will keep you up all night. But no, this is a very common problem, but it's easy to resolve.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
I have another question if nobody else does.
Go ahead.
Somebody had emailed, what is atherosclerosis and what can be done for it?
Okay, atherosclerosis, okay, is kind of an arthritis of the arteries. Atherosclerosis has scar tissue in the arteries. Atherosclerosis. They're confused. If they're talking about arthrosclerosis, they're talking about
I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly.
it's atherosclerosis.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And so they need to be taken the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. Take 3 of those twice a day to get the circulation going through blocked arteries into the kidneys, blocked arteries into the brain. Don't forget the I-26, so the white matter of the brain and the spinal cord work properly. And don't forget, per 100 pounds of body weight, 1 healthy brain and heart pack. And it doesn't hurt, depending on what's going on. If they have, if this is really high blood pressure, if there's high blood pressure involved, didn't say anything about high blood pressure. We do have the blood pressure medication, okay. And
is that the OsteoFX?
Yeah, OsteoFX is good. OsteoFX, go ahead and take that. But there's also blood pressure medication. Okay, that's the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. That'll bring the blood pressure down if there's blood pressure issues and make the kidneys happy and get blood flowing into the brain, even though there's some plugged arteries. Okay.
Great, thank you. I do have one more email question if we have time for one more and nobody else has their hand raised.
We do. Go ahead.
We have a woman who is 65 years old. She's 5'3", 128 pounds. She's active and in good health. She's been taking the 90 for almost 20 years, but she seems to have started having mild anxiety symptoms. When she's overly emotional stress hits and she notices her heart rate increases, she starts perspiring, and it continues like when she's having to listen to a family member with issues. She's not worried too much, but she wonders why it's happening and what she can do about it other than not be around people that stress her out.
Okay. Get rid of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no gluten, no wheat, butter, rhinos, no buckwheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. The diet one's got to go. 128 pounds. She's right at that cusp. Let's start out with 1 healthy brain and heart pack, a half a dose of breakfast, half a dose of dinner time. I also wanted to get 2 bottles a month of the chewable I-26 tablets. Okay, I like the French vanilla, but they also come in, let's see here, banana coconut, which is our best-selling one. 3 of those at least twice a day. That'll help rebuild the white matter of the brain and spinal cord and get rid of a lot of diseases, including anxiety and depression and all kinds of weird stuff going on that doctors can't figure out. But you want to get a hold of that book, Metabolic Syndrome. Okay? Get a hold of that book, Metabolic Syndrome. Get a hold of the book, It's All in Your Head, and follow all the principles in those 2 books. Okay? And don't forget, again, the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. That'll get the blood flowing into the brain, into the heart, into the kidneys. That's to me, that's a miracle product.
All right.
Also, Doc, wouldn't you want to take Synaptive for brain cognition too?
Yeah, she could actually, if finances were not a problem, throw the Synaptive in there, take a couple of those twice a day. Absolutely. I take
I've got more
for
compliments on the Synaptive than anything.
Okay, there you go.
What kind of things are people saying about it, how it helped them, Shar?
A lot of men that have been in the military and active duty, they it stabilizes their mental capacity so they don't have to be on these ADD and ADHD drugs. People that are on ADD and ADHD drugs have been able to get them off them because of the Synaptive. I mean, I have
Wow.
gotten more compliments on the Synaptive than any product that we have, is to the best of
Okay,
my
in
knowledge.
addition, I'm going to stop you there for a minute. In addition to the Synaptive, which I take 2 of those twice a day, but also get those same people to take the I-26, 2 or 3 of those
Yep.
chews twice a day, and then the 90 essential nutrients. It's what should I say? It'll be a miracle.
Wow.
Yeah, I take both of those every day. I take Synaptive and the I-26 every day.
There you go.
Yep.
So Shar, were you saying that it helps with PTSD and vets?
Absolutely.
A lot of men have
Absolutely.
told me that. Yes, a lot of men have told me that.
Yeah, well, I'm just kind of reading into what you were saying, and I wanted to be explicit about it.
Anything that has anything to do
Yeah.
with the behavior,
I've
what's going
I've
on in
never
the
been
brain.
to four, but people that have swear by it.
Okay, so Synaptive and add the I-26 in addition to the 90.
Yep.
Wow, well, that's
I would, yeah.
great to know. I'm sure there's a lot of people we can pass that on to as a helpful aid. Well, we've got 4 minutes left. I've asked everybody to unmute themselves so we can say goodbye in a few minutes. And Doc, I thought you might want to take a couple of minutes to add a few things, or Shar?
Shar, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Pardon?
Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, Doc. Okay, tell me if I'm wrong, but doctors tell people do not eat salt. Don't eat salt. So
Change
if you
your
don't eat
doctor.
salt,
Change your doctor.
if you don't eat, yeah, well, I know, but if you don't eat salt, that means your stomach cannot make stomach acid, correct?
That's correct.
And if you don't make stomach acid, all the food you eat just goes through you because it's not being digested with no stomach acid.
That's correct.
So what happens usually then is you are
A patient, and doctors love that.
You're unable to break down calcium, correct? Because calcium is hard to digest.
No,
So
calcium.
the calcium goes right through.
It's difficult to absorb if you don't have stomach acid. You got to have stomach acid so you can absorb the calcium.
So basically, when you can't digest calcium, your parathyroid gland goes to work like the Pac-Man and digs calcium out of your bones, because that's you got to have calcium in your blood or you'll die, correct?
That's correct.
I do. So your parathyroid glands robs calcium out of your bones to satisfy the blood's need for calcium. And in the meantime, your parathyroid gland takes way too much calcium out of your bones, which precipitates in high blood pressure, which also precipitates in kidney stones, because all that extra calcium forms kidney stones in your body.
And then doctors think you're taking too much calcium to get kidney stones. You don't have enough. That's why it's pulling it out of your bones.
Yes. So kidney stones is really from a lack of calcium.
That's correct.
I mean, this is where doctors will never tell you the truth, because I don't think they know the truth. So
They do not get taught properly.
But don't
remember things because they're important.
Dave and Pam have their hand raised if we have time for just some real quick question.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, you guys just summed up what happened to me, and they got me on all those different medications. That's what they do. They put you on one, and then it causes another problem, put you on another one, sucks everything out of that, put you on another one, and they got a patient for life. So thank you, Dr. Wallach, for teaching us, and we love your books from www.brjwallach.com. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Y'all want to give them that phone number for the to buy the books?
Yeah. Wellness Publications, 1-800-755-4656.
You get an A+,
Dr.
that's
Milan
correct.
and she'll take care of you.
One more time.
1-800-755-4656. And so
Thank
If you
you.
buy 10 of any one title at the same time, you get a big discount.
yep. And not only that, knowledge. Remember, knowledge is no good if you don't put it to work.
Well, thanks everybody for being
Better yourself.
here.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Star. Thanks, Don.